But here's the lineup. The U17, the Miss Red Dot, driven by Kip Brown, and boy, have they had a great weekend so far, a great season so far, Paul.
Yeah, looking to make it 3 for 3 today, or this weekend on heat wins. The U21, that would be the U17 with their third win. The U21 Miss Albert Lee with Brian Perkins.
U97, the U25, the 97 Rock, Dr. Ken Muscatel in the cockpit.
And the U57 FormulaBoats.com with Mark Evans.
And we hope to see the U99 Miss Hapo Community Credit Union, Ryan Mallow, one of the drivers moving up from the Grand Prix West Racing Association. And we hope to see him out here in his maroon and black with some gold stripes boat. It's a beautiful boat. And we hope to get Ryan out here with some actual racing experience in the Unlimiteds.
Yeah, and Mark, I just want to give some props to Steve David before we go to break. You know, he's had a tough weekend, but he is such a gentleman. He'll still come up and talk to our cameras whether he wins or loses. When he wins, he seems to give credit to his crew. And when he doesn't win, he seems to take it on himself, as he did again today. And you got to appreciate that. So, Steve, thank you.
Big wave of the hat here for Steve David. Okay, we will be back with racing. We're about 6 minutes and 15 seconds away from the start. That means the boats will be out on the course momentarily. You're watching the 2011 Lamb Weston Columbia Cup on KNDU, and SWX. We've got Brian Perkins in the number 21 boat, the Albert Lee Appliance. And the guy who's had a pretty good weekend so far, Mr. Kip Brown in the Red Dot, the number 17 boat, as we watch Brian go by that huge buoy. You know, if you're watching these boats on camera, or you're watching them on your TV, you're watching them here on the race course on the shore, you don't get nearly the idea how big these boats are until you're down in the pits and you're standing next to one of them. They are enormous, and when they go by one of these buoys and they're dwarfed by the buoys, you can tell that those entrance and exit pin big yellow buoys are even bigger. They're probably 10, 12 feet tall. The boats are not very tall, but it's deceptive about how big they actually are.
To give you an idea, the U17 is 29 feet 10 inches in length and 14 feet 6 inches wide, but more importantly, 6,750 pounds. These things are beasts.
Yep, they are big and they are powerful, and these turbine engines propel them at 200 miles an hour. We're ready to go racing in Heat 3B, Cascade Natural Gas, Unlimited Heat 3B. Brian Perkins likes lane number 1. Doesn't look like we're going to get the 99 out there, unfortunately. Ryan Mallow will be a did not start in the 99 Hapo Community Credit Union boat. There's Mark Evans in the FormulaBoats.com, the 57 boat. I think Brian Perkins is going to try to slowly troll his way down to that score up, and he's still got a minute to go. 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes to go, yeah.
That's
a tall order for Brian.
Yeah, it is, because he's halfway down the front straightaway right now. But Kip Brown is trolling behind him. So he's going to try to slow down and eat up a couple of minutes. It's part of the strategy for these starts. Now, one thing that these guys are very accomplished in is trolling for starts. That's the way 5-liters start their races, and these guys are both 5-liter drivers.
Yeah, both Brian and Kip have won 5-liter races and championships in the 5-liter boats.
Yeah, so they are very, very accustomed to doing that. Mark Evans, on the other hand, is just going to fly on the outside, and he's just going to be loaded for bear to come flying down the outside.
You know, I remember, Mark, it was only a couple of years ago that some of the boat owners were talking about they didn't have boats that could even do this.
That's right.
That could troll like this. If they shut down like that, the water would come up over and they might wash out everything.
Yep. So they boats, the new ones as they've been built, have been designed to be able to do this. Ken Muscatel is coming across the start-finish line right now. So he will get down and slowly make his way down. They're still 42 seconds away from that buoy. Now, they're not in actually too bad a shape. And here comes Mark Evans down the front straightaway as well. So now you see Kip Brown and Brian Perkins. Dr. Ken Muscatel slides into the picture. He'll be in lane 3 unless he decides to swing farther out.
Which is exactly what he's doing.
Slowly around that yellow buoy. I think Mark Evans is going to trail the field, and they'll just have to contend with him doing a flying start on the outside. We're about 6 seconds away. Looks like they're in pretty good shape right now. There's the 1 minute mark, and yes, they're all behind that score up buoy, so the score up is good. Now they're 1 minute away from the start. They've got to run up the backstretch, about 2/3 of a lap, which they can do easily in less than that. So they still are not going to be going at full song. Looks like it'll be Brian Perkins on the inside, Kip Brown just ahead of him in lane 2, Ken Muscatel in lane 3, and Mark Evans in lane number 4 as they come up the backstretch, get ready to kind of fan out. Mark is going to kick it up a little faster. You can see him on the outside. He's the boat that just passed Kip Brown, but he's way on the outside. He's got a much larger radius to turn around this course. Now everybody starts to pick up the rooster tails. Perkins on the inside in that lime green and white boat. Kip Brown in the red, yellow, and blue balloons boat. Dr. Ken Muscatel falls back farther. They're a little bit early. Okay, they're good. They're good. Kip Brown absolutely nails the start. He was just about half a second behind that line. Brian Perkins crosses in second place as they head down toward the Blue Bridge turn, first of 3 times around. Mark Evans way on the outside in third place. Dr. Ken Muscatel trailing, and you can see Kip Brown bounce the boat through turn number 1. But right behind him, right on his left side, is Brian Perkins in the U21 Miss Albert Lee Appliances, and they are going to have a duel up the backstretch. 2 of them about 4 or 5 boat lengths apart. These 2 kids can drive hydroplanes. Believe me, they've driven against each other. They trust each other to drive at 200 miles an hour as they approach turn number 2 on the Lamb Weston Columbia Cup racecourse.
Although the difference between first and second place is enormous because the guy out in front has a little more clean water. The guy behind him has to look at rough water and then try to stay out of that spray.
Now Brian tips the boat just a little bit as he came right around that exit buoy in lane number 1. Kip Brown about half a rooster tail ahead at the end of lap number 1. Brian Perkins got the boat light. He got the boat light in testing yesterday, real light in testing yesterday, so he's got working on that canard to get the left foot working so to keep the boat down on the water. Kip Brown has stretched that lead out now to a full rooster tail. Still on the inside lane, still with plenty of racing room, is Brian Perkins in second. Mark Evans now quite a ways back in third place. Brian Perkins not going to let Kip Brown get away. He's going to push him and push him as hard as he can. We're on lap number 2, 3 times around in our preliminary sprint heats. Kip Brown didn't accelerate quite as fast this time off the turn, but up the backstretch, he's pulling away from Brian Perkins. There's Mark Evans. It's long ways back, about half the backstretch back to Mark Evans in third place. Here's your leader, Kip Brown, top of the turn on the west end of the race course. Brian Perkins still on the inside. Lots of good racing room. But Brian's not having to deal with a lot of funky water. He's still in clean water. Kip's giving him a lot of room, and that helps. End of lap number 2 in the white flag, and you can see the guys are flying the boats. They're running them pretty loose as they come down the front straightaway. It's a great shot, and you can see how these boats just skim across the top of the water. Just the prop, a little bit of that rudder, and all of that skid fin as they come through the turn, the huge skid fin rooster tail. Kip doing a great job on the third of 3 times around. Brian Perkins seems to have settled back in second place. Sometimes that second place boat will try to push that first place boat and see if they'll do something bad, if the boat will break, but it doesn't look like Kip Brown is going to have a problem with that at this point. Half a lap to go here in 3B. Brian Perkins now still a very, very long lead over the third place boat. But here comes your leader, Kip Brown, through the west turn right at the apex at this point. Beautiful skid fin rooster tail there, and Brian Perkins now just entering that turn. You can see him. He's the second boat on your screen. Checkered flag coming up for Kip Brown. Another 400 points for your current national high point leader, Kip Brown, and the number 17 boat, the red dot, and there's second place. And that goes to Brian Perkins in the 21 boat, the Albert Lee. And it's a long ways back to Mark Evans. He's just coming off of that western turn. And Mr. Evans will bring the boat down for a third place finish here in Heat 3B. So a pretty nice little race for the first lap or so when Brian Perkins was pushing Kip, but Kip just had a little bit too much boat for Brian.
Yeah, and it looked like in that third lap that Brian just kind of settled back into second place, protecting the equipment. as we know, one of the big problems with boat racing is the attrition rate. So keeping the boats together and on the water is important. There comes Ken Muscatel in the U25 97 Rock. He will take a 4th place finish in Heat 3B.
You know, we talk about attrition, and I'm not sure that they had really planned on a Heat 3C. In the early stages with 14 boats, usually the attrition would bring you down to maybe 12, and then you could run 6 and 6 on this course in heats A and B, and not have a heat C. But we still got our boats out there and ready to rock. So we've got a Heat 3C coming up.
Oh, that's great news. Heat 3C wasn't even on the original schedule, so that got added as the day went on.
Watching Brian Perkins come back into the pit area. Canopy is up. Now these guys don't have air conditioning, so it is a very, very hot thing for them to get in. They don't have the cool suits like the NASCAR drivers, and they don't have the water bottles. They're a little busy in that cockpit, so they want to get out and get cooled as quickly as they can. One way they do it is to pop the canopy.
And this is one of the things I love about the Tri-Cities race. Look at this shot. Look how close you can get to the boats, to the action. You're right there. And you don't see that in every race course.
No, some of them are a little farther away. Let's take a look at the unofficial results for the Cascade Natural Gas Heat 3B. First place to the Miss Red Dot and Kip Brown. Second place to Brian Perkins in the Miss Albert Lee. Third place to FormulaBoats.com and Mr. Mark Evans. And the 4th place finish went to the 97 Rock, the 25 boat driven by Dr. Ken Muscatel. The Air National Guard Unlimited Hydroplane Series and the Lamb Weston Columbia Cup on the beautiful Columbia River. And still beautiful water, beautiful wind, beautiful sun. A few clouds over to the west, but not very many. And it's just been a great day.
Yeah, we're looking up at the flag on the blue bridge that separates Pasco from Kennewick, and it is not moving an inch. Just pick it up in the camera shot. There it is. It's just straight on, and just a light enough breeze here to keep us cool in the broadcast booth. But that's good racing weather.
Yep, absolutely. We're looking at it's from our vantage point, just with the naked eye, it's hard to tell that there's a flag up there, but I'm glad we have that shot. Patrick Nolan down in the pit area. You're ready with our winner. Go ahead.
Kip, we've been seeing a lot of each other this weekend because you've got 3 heats, 3 wins. How did this one go for you?
This was a Sunday drive, which I'm happy about. Had a little bit of a game plan with Brian. He needed some points. I didn't feel like we needed to fight him for the inside, so I told him I'd leave my lane for the heat, which I did. And we got our first, they got their second, and hopefully that puts us, well, we're going to be in the final. I hope that puts them in.
Does that happen a lot where you arrange something before the start?
Not always, but, you know, sometimes when it's advantageous for us, then I'll try to make it advantageous for somebody else too.
And you talked to me before about how your goal with all the points you were piling up was just to make sure the boat was in good shape going to the final. You got that goal accomplished?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the Red Dot boat's really holding up nice. Our crew is on top of every little nook and cranny of this thing. And, you know, barring something completely unforeseen, we're 100% going into the final, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I was talking to one of your crew just down here on the dock. This is really a crew win. Everybody's done a great job. Talk about how grateful you are to the people that you work with.
These guys are just fantastic, and you know, I mean, they all started with us when we started building this thing back in '05. You know, save Spider and maybe Troy, one of our turbine guys. I mean, nobody else has worked on an unlimited, and so to build a program like we have and become a contender, you know, it's phenomenal. It's just a dream come true. I'm so happy.
Kip Brown, winner of Heat 3B. Thank you, Kip.
Thank you.
We're going to go down to the pits, the Tom Denchel Ford pit cam, because Patrick Nolan has our second place finisher, Brian Perkins. Patrick.
All right, Brian, you got what you wanted out of that heat. You get second place, you pick up the 300 points, kind of what you expected?
Yeah, it's about exactly what we expected. We'll see if it's enough to get us in the final. You know, we're really working hard with the Albert Lee boat. The guys have worked super hard all year long, putting the thing back together after the wreck in Madison. And, you know, they just worked super hard in Detroit also. Fortunately, we didn't make the final there. But we'll see how it plays out.
How unusual is it that you make that deal with Kip before the race? You guys kind of both got what you wanted out of the race, I guess.
I think so. There was some stuff in that last heat that we could say was maybe a little ungentlemanlike between him and I in the last heat. And I think maybe he was just trying to say sorry.
Okay.
We'll see. But it worked out. He got what he wanted. We got what we wanted. And we'll see what happens.
And how does this set you up for the final?
I haven't tallied the points yet, and it also probably depends on what these guys do in this last heat here. So I'm not sure. Hopefully, we'll be in there. That's the plan.
All right, so you're happy with the race?
Now, yes.
Happy with the race. All right. Brian Perkins, second place finisher in the Heat 3B.